Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the new Cozy Mystery releases for August 2022. This is one of my favorite videos to film, and we're just going to go ahead and hop into the first release that I'm very excited for this month. Alright, so our first release is called A Dark and Stormy Tea. This is the Tea Shop Mystery Book 24. It's by Laura Childs, and it will be coming out on August 9th. So our main character in this series is named Theodosia, and she is a tea maven, and one night she's walking home and she walks by St. Philip's graveyard and she witnesses two strangers kind of in a weird embrace. And it's very rainy, it's, the visibility is quite bad, but when she gets another look at it, she realizes that one of them was actually attacking the other, and she had just witnessed a murder and the other person had already ran off. Later on, it's reported that the murder victim was actually the daughter of her friend Lois, who owns an antique store near her tea shop, and her friend is completely distraught about this. So against her better judgment and the warnings of other people in her life, Theodosia decides to go ahead and take on the case and try to figure out what happened, even though it might be that there is a serial killer out there, because it looks like there's been a rash of murders throughout the town. So this one sounds really, really interesting. I love the dark, rainy, stormy night, and I like the accidental witness trope a lot with mysteries. I think it's kind of an interesting take on it. So this one sounds super fun to me. Let me know if you are a big fan of the series, because it's one that I've been meaning to get around to reading for the first time, but let me know if you think it's worthwhile. So the second book we'll be talking about actually made it on my recent video, which was the most anticipated releases of 2022 for the second half of 2022, so I will link that above if you want to check it out. I talk about mystery releases throughout the rest of the year, past August as well, but this one is called A Killing in Costumes, a Hollywood Treasures mystery. It's by Bissonnette, and this book is coming out on August 9th. So our two main characters in this run a Hollywood Treasures shop together. It's filled with Hollywood memorabilia, and their names are Jay and Cindy, and they actually have a history as Hollywood stars. They used to play a soap opera couple that was very popular, and they were actually married in real life, and they were, had tons of fans. People were a big fan of the show. However, when their sexual orientations were leaked to the public, their stardom quickly went down the drains, and they were kind of turned out by Hollywood, which it was just completely awful. But they decide to go ahead and open this Hollywood Treasures store together and continue their friendship, and they learn that a big star from the silver screen has passed away, and she is auctioning off her different treasures and things, and both Jay and Cindy really want to buy some of these items to sell in their shop because they would be really great additions to the shop. However, they are going to have to beat out this mega rich vice president of this company who is also gearing up to buy these items. But that person, the vice president, ends up being murdered in some way, and Jay and Cindy are immediately scrutinized as the possible suspects behind the crime because they also wanted the same items at the auction so badly. So now they're working hard to clear their names and, get back on track and just clear their names before anything bad happens to them, essentially. So our next book is a completely new cozy mystery series. It sounds super, super cute. I just look at this cover. It's called 6 Feet Deep Dish by Mindy Quigley. It is the Deep Dish Mysteries Book 1, and it's going to be coming out on the 23rd of August. So essentially, this one is a pizza-themed one, and actually this is super special to me because I got into cozy mysteries reading Chris Cavender's Pizza Lovers mystery series. I actually have, let's see, right behind me. This was actually the first cozy mystery I think I ever read. A Slice of Murder. This is the Pizza Lovers mystery of Chris Cavender. I absolutely recommend it. It's a really good series. I've read all of them. So it's just kind of fun to me to see another pizza themed cozy. So our main character's name is Delilah O'Leary, and she can't wait to open her new gourmet deep dish pizza place in Wisconsin. It's a charming resort town. It has a lot of history involving mobsters and millionaires, and it's a vacation mecca for tourists. And she's also, really excited for her future because she's engaged to, her fiance, and so she's really looking forward to things. And just before the opening night for her pizzeria, her fiance dumps her and just completely abandons her and leaves her with, as the description puts it, a very large memento from the relationship, which is Butterball, their spoiled plus-sized tabby cat, who is really adorable on this cover. Really, really love that. Unfortunately, Delilah is not only sideswept by her fiancé dumping her and the stress of opening a pizzeria, but she is also in trouble because her aunt discovers a body and her aunt is holding the murder weapon, making her an immediate suspect in the case. And so she has to figure out how to clear her aunt's name while still getting her pizza shop and her life back together. So just a lot going on, a lot of common cozy mystery tropes in it, but it sounds really interesting. I like the addition of the like mobster history. It sounds like the police officer on the case also has like long held ties to the mob, like in his grandfather I think was associated with the mob. So I like the historical elements that they're incorporating into the series. It sounds really interesting. And how cute is that cat? It's really cute. I love the pizza theme. I'm an absolute sucker for a good culinary mystery, and pizza is definitely, it's up there in terms of top ranking foods that I want to read about. So this one sounds amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, so book 4 we're talking about today is called A Certain Darkness. This is a Verity Kent mystery, book 6 in the series. It is written by Anna Lee Huber, and this is a historical fiction mystery. It's set in the 1920s. This one in particular is March 1920. And so basically this series takes place around our main character, Verity Kent, and she's actually a British intelligence agent. And one day she's given the mission to talk to the suspect who is believed to have information about someone's treason against the English court. And so she is about to investigate this person and talk to them when that suspect is randomly assassinated. So that obviously puts kind of a really serious look at what they were going to be telling her, because they were assassinated possibly to keep that information quiet. And in addition to that, she's actually on a train ride with her husband Sydney when a Belgian man is actually murdered on the train. And at first, the murder of the Belgian man seems to be like a simple revenge murder. However, when they dig into it, they find out that he actually had connections to the British intelligence agency and might have actually had something to do with like sinking a ship filled with gold, like a German ship. So there's a lot of interesting bits and pieces I'm gathering from this, and it sounds like somehow these two cases end up being intertwined and they're like working together, Verity and her husband Sydney, to discover what has happened. I'm not personally familiar with this, but this historical fiction mystery series is really appealing to me. Let me know if you've read this one. I'm definitely looking for more historical fiction, and this one sounded especially interesting to me. Oh, and as always, all the links for all of these will be down in the description below, so if you are interested in checking any of them out, links are in the description. I love the title of this next one. It's called In Too Steep by Kate Kingsbury. And this is a Misty Bay tea room mystery. It is book 2 within the series, so a relatively new series, and it's going to be coming out on August 9th. So this series is recommended for fans of Laura Childs and Cleo Coyle. So Laura Childs wrote the tea shop mystery we were talking about before, and I know Cleo Coyle has the coffee shop mystery series, which I've had multiple people on my channel actually recommend to me, so it's on my list. I definitely am going to get to it. Our main character in this series is named Vivian, and she is the owner of the Misty Bay British-style tea room. And this man nearby who's like living up in the hills, his name is Lewis, and he's actually found murdered in his home. And, you know, this in of itself is bad enough, but the newspaper prints photos of, like, his home or, like, parts of the crime scene, and Vivian notices that there is this, like, antique clock that she sold a week prior to this man's death. However, she didn't sell it to Lewis, so she's immediately curious about who gave him this clock. So she's able to hunt down the clock at an antique shop or something, like, you know, her, I guess, family maybe sold it after his death or something like that. And she hunts it down, and upon getting her hands on the clock, there's actually a huge diamond inside the clock. And so she takes the clock and the jewel to the detective in town, and he immediately is able to identify this diamond as part of a jewelry heist that had taken place in a nearby town. And so their theory is that Lewis, the man who was murdered, must have had something to do with it. He must have been like the fence for the jewelry heist, and maybe someone, you know, maybe he double-crossed someone and they ended up murdering him. However, Vivian doesn't believe this is true. She has reason to think otherwise, and so she starts to nose around and try to figure out what actually happened to him, because she suspects he's actually innocent or wasn't as heavily involved as the police think he is. So this sounds super interesting. I'm a sucker for a jewelry heist or like art heist. I don't know what it is, but like heist movies, heist books, I'm all about them. So this one sounds especially interesting to me. Okay, in our next one we have another historical fiction mystery, and this one is called Murder at Beacon Rock, a Gilded Newport mystery, book 10. It's by Alyssa Maxwell, and it will be coming out on August 30th. And so our main character in this series is named Emma, and she is a reporter, and she's used to hanging out at these like fancy social events to report on them. However, this time she's actually going as a guest of her fiance, and they're going to this like exclusive like island yacht party, you know, with a lot of like hoity-toity types and lots of fun things like that, and she's, you know, very excited for it. However, while they're out there on like the yachts and the boats and, you know, socializing, a woman's body is discovered in the bay, and when they pull her out, they discover she's dead, and so police are immediately concerned, like, you know, did she drown herself? Was this a suicide attempt? However, the police kind of rushed the case and immediately declared a suicide attempt, probably to save face for the Morgans, who are the like couple putting on the yacht party, who have like a very high like social status among these people, so they don't want, you know, this to reflect poorly on the family. However, Emma and one of the other detectives is not convinced of this, and they actually think foul play is involved. So Emma is on the case trying to figure out what happened to this woman and who might have wanted her dead. So I have not read this series before, but I like the cover a lot. I feel like it has a very mysterious vibe, and this sounds a very interesting series. So definitely let me know if you've read any of these series and what your thoughts are. I'm always looking forward to hearing what you guys think about different series and books. Okay, so this next one might be my most excited pick of this month. I mean, there's a few, but this one made it my most anticipated releases as well, and I love the cover so much for this. It's called 2 Parts Sugar, 1 Part Murder. It's a Baker Street mystery, and it's by Valerie Burns. And this book will be coming out on August 30th. So essentially, it's a brand new series. I love the cover. The colors are so vibrant and beautiful, and I love the dog. It's perfect. So essentially, in this case, our main character is Maddie, and she's used to a big city life. You know, she's a social media expert. That's her job, you know, social media, posting, marketing, all of that. And she is really excited for her future because she's actually engaged right now, and she's planning the wedding. She's getting all these details put together. However, they're planning a live stream wedding, and her fiance is actually a no-show at the wedding, which, you know, absolutely devastating to her, completely unexpected, horrible. I can't even imagine. And she, you know, is devastated by this, of course, and she also gets the news that her aunt has passed away and has actually left her inheritance, but the inheritance has certain conditions. And so the conditions include that she has to move out to New Bison, Michigan for a year, she has to run her aunt's bakery, and she has to care for her aunt's 250-pound English Mastiff dog named Baby. And Maddie is not a big dog person. You know, she's used to high heels, not walking around Lake Michigan with a big dog, and she doesn't know how to bake, but she decides to jump into this, give herself a new, you know, different shot at life, a different chapter of her life, essentially. And her aunt's friends are helpful. They're helping her learn how to kind of bake and do these different things that her aunt was into. However, something strange happens, and the New Bison, the Michigan mayor, ends up being stabbed, which in and of itself, obviously horrible, but Maddie's fingerprints are actually found on the knife, which completely floors her. She has no idea how they were there, and she discovers as she's going through her aunt's things that her aunt actually had some notes and suspicions about things and strange happenings around town. So now Maddie's kind of in over her head. She's, you know, in a new location. She's got all these new responsibilities. She's being blamed for this murder, and she has like her aunt's suspicions about things that were going on around town. So this just sounds absolutely fascinating. So many interesting elements, so many tropes that I love with the baking and the dog, and I'm excited for this. I'm definitely gonna have to get this book in one way or another. It sounds so good. So our next one is another new series. We have a lot of new cozy mystery series coming out this month, and it's called Peg and Rose Solve a Murder. It's a senior sleuths mystery book 1 in the series by Laurien Berenson, and this is coming out on August 30th. I have to start off by saying that I absolutely love the cover on this. I think it's so vivid and it has like a really interesting look to it. But essentially this story takes place around 2 sister-in-laws, Rose and Peg, who are both in their senior years. And Rose is the type who is very optimistic, she looks really good in everyone, and Peg is a little bit more rough around the edges, a little more cynical, like a realist, if you will. However, over the years they've decided to kind of, you know, put aside any differences in personalities and just, you know, enjoy their years together, and they decide to open a bridge club. So they're having fun playing with different friends and, you know, just enjoying the game bridge when one of the members of the bridge club is actually murdered. So the police are automatically looking at everyone in this person's life, including the two sister-in-laws, although it doesn't sound like they're major, you know, suspects or anything. They're just kind of having to be ruled out along with a bunch of other people in their life. However, they're just really upset over this guy's death, and they want to make sure that his murder is properly investigated, so they start to look into it themselves. However, they get a little too close to the killer, and it sounds like they're going to have some really dramatic confrontations with them, and it's really going to put their kind of mended relationship to the test. So this one sounds very interesting. I love the dog on the cover. I like the concept for this. I really, really like the general idea of this mystery, so this one's definitely on one of my most anticipated releases of the year list. Pretty excited. So our next one is a Treacherous Tale, the Cambridge Bookshop series, and this is the Cambridge Bookshop series book 2, so relatively new series. It's by Elizabeth Penney, and it will be coming out on August 23rd. And this book has a really fun concept, and I love it. I've just listened to this concept. So basically Molly lives in Cambridge, and she runs a bookshop and like manuscript shop, and she recently comes across a beautiful copy of The Strawberry Girls, which is like a fairy tale, and she finds out that the author, Iona, actually lives nearby in a cottage. So she makes an appointment and ends up going over to Iona's cottage, spending time with the author, when one of Iona's acquaintances actually falls off the roof to their death, which is very strange, very weird circumstances, and later on Iona's daughter actually goes missing. So Molly starts to ask Iona questions, and she finds out that Iona's husband, who was the co-author of The Strawberry Girls, had actually died under mysterious circumstances years ago, and her daughter that has gone missing was actually inspiration for one of the Strawberry Girls. So there seems to be a lot of weirdly connected, like, people who are connected to the Strawberry Girls books who are going missing or murdered or dead, or like, you know, just strange circumstances. So Molly starts to look into this and really trying to figure out, like, are these crimes connected? Are they not connected? Are they just weird coincidences? So this one sounded super interesting. I think the cover is very beautiful, like a nice, fresh, beautiful cover, and I love the trope with mysteries when they have like a past and present mystery and it somehow like intertwines. Like, I personally eat that up, so this one sounds really interesting to me. Our next one has a most adorable cover. It's called Peanut Butter Panic, and it's an Amish candy shop mystery. It's by Amanda Flower, and it is book 7 within the series, and it will be coming out on August 23rd. So our main character in this series is a chocolatier. Her name is Bailey, and she is gearing up for Thanksgiving, so this is a holiday cozy mystery, and she is getting ready for this big festival. They are serving hundreds of people, hundreds of guests, including a former judge and like harsh food critic named Zara. And so the day arrives, and Zara comes to the festival, and she's actually bringing her fiance, who they recently just announced that they are getting married. He's much younger than her, which causes a little bit of a stir. However, things are going pretty well until Zara eats a dessert of Bailey's and ends up dying on the spot. It sounds like it's a peanut allergy thing, and you know, immediately the suspicion is thrown on Bailey and just her food. You know, did something go wrong? Did she, like, you know, this is like a, you know, obviously it's a serious issue because someone has died. So was there issues with the food handling? Was there something intentional? Did someone contaminate the food on purpose to give it to Zara? And so the more Bailey digs into Zara's past, there's a long list of people who don't like her or who would be, you know, benefiting from her death. And so Bailey goes on to investigate. I just love the pig on the cover, I'll be real. The pig on the cover absolutely makes it for me right there. And I haven't personally read this series, but I really like the idea of this like candy shop, so I'm pretty intrigued by this one. So our next one is actually from another series that I really love. It's called Death in Cornwall. It's a St. Just mystery series. It's book 4 in the series, and it's by G.M. Mallet, and it will be coming out on August 30th. I'm especially thrilled to find out this book's coming out because I honestly thought the series had ended at book 3 because there was such a gap between book 3 and book 4 releasing. So I'm so excited. The cover looks completely different than the other ones, but I'm happy it's coming out, so, you know, no complaints here. So our main character in this is named St. Just, and he is a like smaller town detective for a police force. So it's not an amateur sleuth if that's your thing, but it's still a cozy mystery, and he is basically off in Cornwall celebrating his engagement and just, having a good time. However, there's soon a lot of drama in town because the fishermen in the town want to build a slipway, which a lot of the businessmen are concerned will hinder the tourist-like attraction because it might block some of the ocean view. So St. Just actually overhears an argument between Lord Bodwally and another person arguing over this because the Lord is very against this being built, and so there's just a lot of tension. And later on, Bodwally, his body is actually found, so St. Just kind of has to put his engagement celebration plans on the burner and start to look into this crime and what has happened. There's a lot of people who could have wanted him dead, especially with the ongoing controversy over this building project and whether or not it was going to happen. So personally, really love this mystery series. I've read the first 2 books in the series. I'm trying to get my hands on book 3 now, and this book, if you like a golden age mystery style written in modern times, this is a really good series. I really, really have been enjoying this. And last but certainly not least, we have a very popular series. In fact, this is book 31 in this series, and this is a Round Up the Usual Peacocks, a Meg Langslow mystery. It's by Donna Andrews, and it will be coming out on August 2nd. So obviously, very popular mystery series. It has 31 it intimidates me to even start a series with that many books. That's a commitment right there. So our main character Meg, her cyber-savvy nephew Kevin is visiting, and her nephew Kevin runs a podcast that focuses on true crime cases, and his podcast team has recently had a brush with death. One of the members almost was, hit or had some kind of fatal accident, and so Kevin comes to Meg and asks for her help, and she's kind of like, hey, you guys look up everything online, why can't you do that? And he's like, well, you actually talk to people and investigate, which, good point. So Meg starts to, dig into things and look into, possible reasons that someone would have wanted one of the podcast members to be harmed in a, fatal way potentially. So Meg is busy preparing for a wedding during this, and she has to round up these people who barely survived recent cases in town, and then she also finds an interesting link to a past case with a musician who almost rose to stardom, but the case might somehow be interconnected with the current cases. So again, kind of that fun past and present case trope that I personally really like. Anyways, let me know if you're a fan of that trope. But again, this is a very popular series obviously, and yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and include that. So that is everything today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know down below, what books are you most excited for this month? Did I miss any releases that you're very excited for? And thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I post this kind of video every month talking about new releases. And if you like mysteries and book content in general, I do post weekly on my channel. So I don't want you to miss out. Hit subscribe and like. Let me know about your favorite releases, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!